I've never actually gone live before, so this should be a hoot. Um, I am starting the journey of creating an app from idea all the way to first sale in 5 hours. It's already 4 hours and 40 minutes left. So we lost time. Actually, I meant to. My wife got up at 6 to go into work at 7:30, and I meant to get up when she did, but I overslept a little bit, and so I'm short of time. Get comfortable. I'm about to jump into the planning of it. I got a whole bunch of coffee. I'm caffeinated. I got chewing tobacco, so I'm comfortable. The app that I'm going to try building today is one that I shared with you in a video. It's a language app where basically I want people to be able to pick what they use to learn a language. Whenever I plan or code, I always set myself an objective. So right now the objective would be just to figure out what the next steps are. Figure out what we're doing. So until we know what we want to build, we can't do anything else. And until we reach this objective, I don't want to do anything else. So I always have an objective, and that's the only thing I work on. And until I get that done, I just focus on that. So what do we want to build today? What I want is a language learning app where I'm sure this will be mostly used on mobile. So I'll draw a mobile screen here. I want the user to pick what they enjoy. So if they enjoy reading news, they can read news in a language learning app. What I learn most from is my Bible app in Russian. So whatever the user wants to read, they can pick that, and then it will give the language in the target language, and then a translation. And I want little helpers to be in the target language. Let's say you can click on a word, and it gives you some information, maybe the conjugation table, whatever the case may be. Past tense, I want a little arrow, little ways to help the reader to focus on what they are reading and not having to actually think about the grammar, the mechanics of the language. Just focus on the story if they're bringing in a story, whatever the case may be. I want to make their reading process as smooth as possible. So it's a language learning app. I want to get all the way to a first sale today, or at least try. To do that, I feel with as little time as we have, I'm going to have to work backwards. So first set up a payment method, a website with a payment method, then advertise this product, then post something that adds value. Even if this is a literal photograph of a Word document, I want to post something on a website that could add value to somebody's life. So post that, then I'll work backwards from there into code and create as good an app as I possibly can in the remaining 3-4 hours. And then that way, if anything goes wrong, if I get lost and distracted, go down a rabbit hole while I code, I will be able to at least have a website adding some value. So I'm going to work backwards. I know that. The reason that I want to work backwards is because there's a lot of functionality I could add to this app. For example, what sources can you pull reading material in from? Can the user go to any website import reading material? Can they import a ebook from some other app? There's functionality there that I don't know if we'll have time to add or not. And then there's so much that could be done within the app feature wise. I may only get one or two main bits of functionality created. So I want to work backwards from a simple version, get a simple version out on the internet, and then work backwards and make it as complicated as I can in 5 hours. So at the end of 5 hours, I have released some value. What if we're gonna? So did we meet this objective? Figure out what we want to build. I think good enough, probably. The next step would be probably to figure out a payment method. I admit, I definitely will share a link of the app as soon as I get it live. So if I'm working backwards, I know there's so much I don't know about this app. What I do know I need is that I need a URL. So because this would be mostly used on mobile, I would love to get a hybrid mobile app out today. I'm probably not going to have time. So if I just create a web app, that will be the quickest way I can possibly get it. So to get a web app, I need a URL and this is where the objectives start to cascade. So I need a URL for a web app. In order to have a URL, I'm going to need a brand name. Which I have not thought of yet. So I cannot get anywhere until I've come up with a brand name. I don't really have time I did make a video on how I brainstorm brand name ideas, but I'm not going to have time to come up with a really good name. And every one of the steps today, I'm going to have to do a quick version of it. So if the brand name that I come up with is garbage, that is okay, because I can always change it and buy another domain name, move it in the future. But I just want something out there. So the only brand name I can think of would be something like, I'm learning Russian. And that would be my first module in the app. So a good name would be something like Russian by, or with, Russian with, learn Russian with such and such. I don't want to give one of the target languages be the brand name. So I think a generic one would be language by, this would be your choice of material. And I would eventually like to have standalone apps for specific use cases. Example would be, I use the Bible app a lot. So it would be like Russian by Bible or language by Bible. I want to do tech-based apps. So if you want to learn English by Python, you could do that. And those could be standalone apps that people would genuinely spend significant amount of time for, even for 6 months. So I think language is a good choice to keep it generic. Learning language by your choice, language by X. I don't know, and I really don't have time to brainstorm out ideas. So I'm just gonna start with language by, and I'm gonna see if languageby.com is available on GoDaddy. If it is, I'll buy it right on the spot. I'm sure there's a better name that is um, languagebuy.com is, as I'm typing it out, I'm realizing that it is not an easy reading name. Uh, it looked like it's Language Abbey or something. It's really not pretty. Unfortunately, I cannot get stuck on picking a brand name. I'll have to do that later. Languagebuy.com is available, so I'll just buy it. I'll just go 1 year. I'm using GoDaddy to purchase the domain. I've always had good luck with GoDaddy, particularly their DNS settings. If I need to point to GoDaddy's DNS servers, it's always easy to either switch the name servers or create an A record. I really love their DNS interface, and that's why I've kind of stuck with GoDaddy as a domain provider. There we go. Languagebuy.com. So we picked a brand name. We got the URL purchases going through. What is next? I suppose we could mock up what this app will look like. That wireframe is more to take in front of customers and ask them how they like it. I don't have time to do that. And because it will be coding this ourselves, I would rather get a real product out to customers on the internet. If they don't like that, and I get feedback that it's the design, the user experience is not working for people, I can always change it and create another real product and send that out to customers. So I don't want to necessarily mock this up into a wireframe. The Now we get into the meat, what we're actually going to be building. Or do we? Let me think about this. If I'm trying to get a sale in, let me look at my timer, 4.5 hours left. If I'm trying to get a sale by the end of the time here, I'm going to have to first set up some way to take payments. And I don't know what the quickest way, each step. So objective would be to, I guess, so set up a website. And payment. Now setting up a website will be pretty easy. The easiest way to get payments set up, or the quickest way, I guess, I'm not sure about. And so I'm just going to ask ChatGPT here, what's the easiest way to set up a payment method on a landing page? So ChatGPT says that setting up a payment method on a landing page can be straightforward. Choose a payment gateway. Select a payment gateway that suits your needs: Stripe, PayPal, Square. Set up an account. Use a website builder or CMS. There's so much involved in payment that if there's a service that I can plug in, or even something that will build me a landing page right out of the box with payment, then that would be preferable. So the objective is set up a website and payment. I don't know how to set up the payment portion of that yet, so I need another objective, which would be find out the easiest way find out the easiest way to take a payment. ChatGPT is actually not helpful. They're only telling me that things like Stripe and PayPal exist. So I'm going to go on Google. Let me see if I can share my screen. Here we go. Let's do some digging. Google, just like ChatGPT, Google is just telling me use things like PayPal or Stripe. What I'm looking for as I Google this, again, my objective is to find out the easiest way to take a payment. The thing that I'm looking for, I'm curious about, is there any service out there that will pop up on Google that just allows you to set up a quick landing page with payment right out of the box. So there's no effort involved. This company that I'm looking for would just offer this to all startups, all apps being launched, that is super easy. Because I'm halfway down the Google results, going on to page 2 of the Google results, and I don't see anything that offers a solution right out of the box. I'm thinking that it does not exist, or at least it's not popular and mature enough that I would want to use it. Here's one article: 5 free landing page builders you can use to accept payment. So they're saying Weebly, Square, WordPress. I definitely don't want to use WordPress. Too complicated for what I'm trying to do today. Given that the article here suggests using WordPress, my hopes are dimming that any one of these suggestions offers a really simple, out of the box solution for taking payments. WordPress has a lot of overhead. Square and Weebly I have used, but they are just as much work setting up a landing page as doing it directly with HTML and CSS. So I can't get stuck on this problem. I think what I would have to do to keep moving is set up a website the way I always do it, with HTML and CSS, then look for a way to add payments. I have done payments, but it was really complicated adding it up into the website. Maybe I'll find a quicker way. Maybe I'll just have to do the way I've done before. But finding out the easiest way to take payment, I really have not found a super easy way. So we're back at the objective of setting up a website. I drank a bunch of coffee, so I got to take a piss. I will be right back. I am back here with a cup of coffee. The objective that we're on as we build an app here is to set up a website, a landing page for this application first at the beginning of the day. The reason being that if we get nothing else done, no functionality left, we can at least upload some language learning materials to that website and end the day by offering value out to the world. So I want to get a website out. When I say a website, that really does raise a decision point that we have to face, which is, do we want just a static website, or do we want something with more dynamic content? The rule of thumb that I use is always, when I have an objective on my journey, I always go the most direct way to that objective. So whatever is the simplest way to reach this objective, I tend to follow that. I do know, though, that if I just create a static HTML, CSS landing page, probably immediately after, I'm going to need, let's say, a Node.js server with something more dynamic. So I would be potentially setting up a static site and then immediately swapping that out for a Node.js Express web server, possibly even a JavaScript framework on the front end. I don't know, but I'm going to follow my rule of thumb that's served me well, where I'm just trying to meet one objective the fastest I possibly can. And that is to create a static site. So I'm just going to create a static site. If I swap it out half an hour later, okay, that's fine. But I want to at least get a website out there. And if I don't want to get bogged down by an Express server, let alone anything more complicated. The way that I host static sites is on Google Cloud. I have made a video on how I set that up, so I'm not going to necessarily share all the details. Really, as I live stream here, I'm not going to be walking through steps if I've already done them in a video. So what you would probably need if you were going to follow along with me was the basic coding setup of Visual Studio Code. Google that, install that on your computer. So Visual Studio Code. I don't know what else we'll run into, but if I have never done a walkthrough video on how to set that up, I will show on the live here. So we're creating a website. The other computer that I have here has Visual Studio Code set up with ChatGPT 4.0. So for speed's sake, I'm going to be using a lot of ChatGPT, including to build the website. I will share my screen now. Pardon me as I flop around. I've never live streamed before, so this is all new to me. If I'm creating any project, I always create a new folder immediately. That's my first step. I keep right in the C directory, I keep a apps folder and all apps go into that. So I've just made one for our domain name, language by, and I know I'm going to need an HTML file. I always call that index.html, not a folder, sorry, a file. New text document index.html. I'm going to open that with Visual Studio Code. Actually, what I should do is open the entire folder. There, I got the folder open in Visual Studio Code. On this computer, I have GitHub Copilot, which I hate. I prefer to use ChatGPT within VS Code, but I'm going live on this computer, so I'll see if Copilot is there. And my Copilot is not working. I think I'm going to have to code this up on the other computer. What I'm doing right now is just trying to get the project open in Visual Studio Code, connected to some AI Copilot for speed's sake. And I'm having some connectivity issues using GitHub Copilot. So I think I'm going to have to code this up on my other computer. What I think I will have to do is stop the live stream at some point on my GitHub Copilot laptop and move over to my ChatGPT 4.0 laptop to actually do the coding, because GitHub Copilot connection is not working for some reason, and I don't want to troubleshoot that. Copilot is not what I prefer to use in coding. It is ChatGPT. I get far better results with ChatGPT, so I'd be better off living from that other laptop anyway. But the objective that we have right now is just to set up a website, and that I don't even necessarily need an AI copilot to do. So I may just set up the website here on this computer and then move over once I need to actually code something to the laptop where I have ChatGPT integrated with my VS Code. Yep, I'm going to need to switch computers. So I'll cut this one off and jump over to my other laptop. I'll probably be back in around 5 minutes on the other computer. So what we'll be doing there is immediately setting up a landing page and then trying to attach payment to it. What we want is for somebody, we want to be able to advertise this product that we're about to launch today out on social media as soon as possible, just to get some people interested. If they hit the landing page and they like the idea of what we're going to build, I think we could get potentially even sales before we launch any major functionality by saying something like, if you sign up today, pay $5 something, we will give you a lifetime free use of any product that we ever create as part of this application. So pay $5. This is the one day, this is launch day. If you pay $5 now, you can use any product we build going forward for the rest of your life. And that may be a good way to get our first sale. But we need to set up at least a landing page and a way to take payment first. So I will go over to my other laptop where I do the heavy lifting with ChatGPT set up, integrated with VS Code, and live from that one. So I'll be back live on here in 5 to 10 minutes. I'll see you over there.